Okay, by my watch, it's time to start, I think. We're going to begin tonight on page 24 with Shalom Aleichem, a melody that I think you probably don't know, but you'll catch on to. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Let's turn back in our Sidur to page 2, and I need a volunteer to light candles. Who'd like to volunteer to light candles? Don't all jump at once. Maida, come on up. Thank you for volunteering. Hmm?
Doesn't have the string.
Yeah, the string's a little, it's okay, eventually you'll catch. There we go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu v'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
And then we light one.
Yeah, we're still, unfortunately, lighting a candle for hostages. We say Baruch Atah Adonai Matir Asurim, praise you, God, who, God willing, someday will redeem these captives. I'm going to move it to a more convenient. Yeah, go ahead.
Did it? No?
Oh, so close. Give it another shot.
No?
Oh, there it is. Excellent. Okay. Thank you, Meda. We're going to rise for Hatikva, which can be found on page, I thought it was 347. 374. Am I having a little dyslexia? Yep, Mike's right. Page ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. All your heart, all your soul, you shall love, you shall love. All your soul, all you are, you shall love, you shall love. All your heart, all your soul, you shall love, you shall love. All your soul, all you are, you shall love, you shall love. Page 39 at the top. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Michamocha is on page 40. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehedar b'kodesh. רק תהילות עושה פלא, עושה פלא, עושה פלא. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehedar b'kodesh. No רק תהילות עושה פלא, עושה פלא, עושה פלא. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Let's turn to page 43. Bottom. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Shamru is the top of page 44. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat lidotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat lidotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat lidotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim Asaronai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat lidotam berit olam. Ubayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat lidotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat lidotam berit olam. We're going to rise for Amidah on page 46. We're going to pray together, pages 46 through 53, and then we'll continue silently through the end of the Amidah, and we'll join back together with Shalom Rav once everybody is finished with their personal prayers. So page 46. Adonai svatai tivta, ufi agid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Adonai svatai tivta, ufi agid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Komel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Abraham v'Ezrat Sarah, Ata Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Ata, Rav Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Rofech Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, V'Shenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'nemanata Lachayot Hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol. Page 53. Yana emtsacha mekorcha nala v'ne'elam v'hana lo emtsacha kivodcha ma'alei olam. Where might I go to find you, exalted, hidden one? Yet where would I not go to find you, ever-present, eternal one? Where might I go to find you, exalted, hidden one? Yet where would I not go to find you, ever-present, eternal one? My heart cries out to you, please draw near to me. The moment I reach out for you, I find you reaching in for me. Where might I go to find you, exalted, hidden one? Yet where would I not go to find you, ever-present, eternal one? Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Continue silently. Page 60. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. 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 Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amacha Tasim לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. Turn to page 253. We find our prayer for healing, Mishaberach. I should say the Mishaberach for those who are ill, because there's lots of Mishaberachs in the prayer book. This week, on our official congregational Mishaberach list, we are praying for healing for Malena Barcena Villalobos, Joan Adler, Bill Ellis, Amber Gracia, Aaron Kugler, Alan Levin, Karen Ellis, Emily Elkins, Liz Wilkes, and Judith Levy. And we are also praying for again on page 253. Mishaberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Baruch atah Adonai rofei hacholim. Praise are you, God, source of healing. Together we say, Amen. Okay. So earlier this week, I received an text message, email, I forget exactly which way it was, communique from the rabbi mentioning that we had not, in this month of June, done anything in observance of Pride Month. And as not the rabbi of the congregation, it's kind of odd to do a little, to kind of take on that mantle on behalf of the congregation. But I earlier this year had the privilege of participating in a conference in which one of the sessions was titled Queer Torah. And it was an attempt, or I should say it was a Torah study session done through the lens of the LGBTQ world community, led by a variety of rabbis, rabbinical students who are members of that part of our community, and we're kind of sharing how they look at Torah. So I thought we might do that together a little bit today. And try to look at something from this week's parasha through that lens, and try to appreciate it in that lens. This week's parasha is Shlach Lecha. It's the story of the spies. And there are actually two spy stories. There's the spy story that's in the book of Devarim, of Bamidbar, of Numbers, where we are in this week's Torah reading. And then there's the spy story in the book of Joshua, which is far more interesting. And that's the one I want to read. You might be familiar with it because it's a relatively famous story, but we'll take a look at it, we'll read it together, and then we'll try to do a little bit of interpretation with some of this lens. No, Norma, I had not passed these out yet. I'm going to pass them out now. No, that's okay. No, you're used to the usual system where the rabbi leaves them out there on the table and you all collect them as you go, as you come in. But it's all good. Pass one to Linda, please. And 2, 3. 3 for you. And 1 for you. Okay, and I'm going to leave a couple out there in case somebody walks in late. Okay, so, oh, yeah, you want one too. That's why I kept an extra. I'm on top of it. Okay. So I'm wondering if, last I saw, yep, it is here. Good. I intend this to be somewhat participatory, so I'm going to turn on the official second microphone. Oh, and that confuses Diane. That makes Diane's life complicated. Sorry. It's working fine. Well, now it's working fine. Okay. So as you can see, I put a couple of principles here at the top. This is by no means all of the principles for trying to look at Torah from this lens, from the LGBTQ lens. But some of the things that those who led that session talked about were centering the minority voices, trying to identify who are the minorities within the story and try to hear their voice and see their perspective. Note the identities that are imposed and claimed. One of the things in our society that we do, particularly with minorities, is we say, you are a this, or you are a that. And we sometimes force identities on people, and sometimes people claim identities, even if they might not be the identity that, I don't know, let's say the world assumes they would claim. So what are the identities that are imposed or claimed? And then consider the use of power. Power is a big thing when it comes to minority groups in general, certainly when it comes to pride and standing up and claiming your power, who has formal power, who has informal power, who claims power, who cedes or yields power, who uses power in kind of a subversive way to kind of overturn or undermine, actually is probably a better way of thinking about things, undermine the status quo and kind of get their needs met despite the circumstances. And then look for allyship, who kind of supports those folks. All right, so here's the story. And this is where we could have a lot of audience participation in this part because all you got to do is read English. So, who'd like to volunteer to start reading? All right. Wait. Got a microphone so everybody can hear you.
Joshua, son of Nun, secretly sent 2 men from Shittim as spies, saying, "Go, reconnoiter the region of Jericho." So they set out, and they came to the house of a certain prostitute named Rahab, and lodged there. The king of Jericho was told, "Some men have come here tonight, Israelites, to spy out the country." The king of Jericho thereupon sent orders to Rahab, "Produce the men who came to you and entered your house, for they have come to spy out the whole country."
Let's get our second reader. Okay. We're just going to pass it around. Sure, you can do that.
The woman, however, had taken the 2 men and hidden them. "It is true," she said, "the men did come to me, but I didn't know where they were from." And at dark, when the gate was about to be closed, the men left, and I don't know where the men went. Quick, go after them, for you can overtake them. Now she had taken them up to the roof and hidden them under some stalks of flax that she had lying on the roof. So the men pursued them in the direction of the Jordan, down to the fords, and no sooner had the pursuers gone out than the gate was shut behind them. The spies had not gone to sleep when she came up to them on the roof. She said to the men, I know that God has given the country to you, because dread of you has fallen upon us, and all the inhabitants of the land are quaking before you. For we have heard how God dried up the waters of the Sea of Reeds for you when you left Egypt, and what you did to Sihon and Og, the two Amorite kings across the Jordan, whom you doomed.
That was Pat.
It's number 11.
Yeah, you keep your page. I'll take the microphone. It's all good. There you go.
When we heard about it, we lost heart, and to no one had any more spirit left because of you. For the eternal your God is the only God in heaven above and on earth below. Now, since I have shown loyalty to you, swear to me by God that you in turn will show loyalty to my family. Provide me with a reliable sign that you will spare the lives of my father and mother, my brothers and sisters, and all who belong to them, and save us from death. The men answered her, Our lives are pledged for yours, even to death. If you do not disclose this mission of ours, we will show you true loyalty when God gives us the land.
She let them down by a rope through the window, for her dwelling was at the outer side of the city wall, and she lived in the actual wall. She said to them, Make for the hills, so that the pursuers may not come upon you. Stay there in hiding 3 days, until the pursuers return, then go your way. But the men warned her, We will be released from this oath that you have made us take, unless, when we invade the country, you tie this length of crimson cord to the window through which you let us down. Bring your father, your mother, your brothers, and all your family together in your house. And if anyone ventures outside the doors of your house, their blood will be on their head, and we shall be clear. But if a hand is laid on anyone who remains in the house with you, their blood shall be on your heads, on our heads. And if you disclose this mission of ours, we shall likewise be released from the oath that you made us take.
She replied, Let it be as you say. She sent them on their way, and they left, and she tied the crimson cord to the window. They went straight to the hills and stayed there 3 days, until the pursuers turned back. And so the pursuers, searching all along the road, did not find them. Then the two men came down again from the hills and crossed over. They came to Joshua, son of Nun, and reported to him all that had happened to them. They said to Joshua, God has delivered the whole land into our power. In fact, all the inhabitants of the land are quaking before us.
All right, thank you to all the readers. Hold on to that. We'll pass it around as people have comments and thoughts. Actually, you know what? I'll take it so I can hand it to people as they have thoughts and comments. Thanks. Okay, so who are the minority voices and who are the majority voices in the text? Who stands out as kind of the mainstream versus those on the side? Everyone in the city besides her, right? Rahav seems to be kind of a person who's on the margins, right? How do we know? What does the story tell us that gives us that idea?
She's a prostitute.
Okay, so it calls her a prostitute, right? It names her. A certain prostitute, right? Well, I don't think it's certain here in this context means prostitute for sure. No, it's not certain in the terms of for sure. It's certain as she happens to be or she is, right? Right. To differentiate her from all the others, maybe, right? So, and notice if you look at the kind of the principles here, right? Is this identity imposed or is it claimed? It's imposed, right? Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
It may be that she was not a prostitute, but she now lives in a very outer ring of the city.
Right, she lives in the city wall. That would see, how would that tell us she's kind of a side person? Let's just elaborate on it.
It's kind of a reclusive place where her customers can come without being seen.
Maybe it's reclusive. Maybe it's a place that's kind of not seen, right? So she lives kind of on the margins in that sense, right? Literally, actually. Right? Right, you were going to say literally on the margins. You know, handing this around is not going to be especially useful. So I'm just going to turn it off. Right, the society sees her as an outsider or as a peripheral person. Okay. Others, are there other folks here who are minority voice, who seem to be minorities? Who's the majority? There's the people of the town. There's clearly a king, right? The king has these various folks who go to try to find the spies. Joshua, not Joshua, the spies who Joshua ordained. They're not even given names, actually. That's also noteworthy, right? Right, they're not really even given names, these spies. True, but in the story, so it's interesting. This is the story in Joshua that has, that's our Haftorah for this week. The story in Numbers in Bamidbar has all of them listed by name. 12 spies, one representing each one of the tribes listed by name. So that's an interesting kind of counterpoint. Okay, so how does power work here? How does power work in the story? Who has power in the story? Who wields power in what ways?
Well, formal power is going to be the king of Jericho, because it's the king.
Right, the king has this formal power. Okay, what about Rahab and her power?
Oh, she's not.
She does have power, doesn't she? What does she do? How does she use it? So one, she hides these guys, and she spirits them away, right? And right, she knows how things work in a way that others don't know. Go ahead, Mike. What are you going to say? Right. So she sees more of the picture actually than the king does, because she knows the mainstream. She also knows the margins. Right. And she's actually the only one who's going to survive this whole thing, because she's able to use that knowledge and that power to barter and gain something for herself. You're going to say the same thing? Right. There's fear, and that fear that she actually uses her power for them because of the fear that they have of the Israelites.
So something I find really interesting is the king sends her orders saying, "Here's these men."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming that somebody came to the house and said, "Oh, here's what the king says. Here's these men."
Yeah.
And she tells a lie.
Mm.
She flat out lies to them,
Yeah.
and they accept it.
Mm-hmm.
And they go away. They don't search the house around, and they accept what she tells them as being true.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's a lot of power right there.
Yeah, why do you think they do that? Because they're her customers. No, there might be truth there, right?
There's a lot of truth.
That might very well be true.
Or she, even though she lives on the outskirts of town, has a lot of power.
Mm-hmm. So they can't imagine she would lie to them because they think that she would feel powerless with respect to them, right? It's interesting. An interesting twist, right? It's great. I love it. Other thoughts anyone has before I maybe try to look at use one of these other lenses?
Well, the prostitute says she let them go on their way, but she still listened to them and tied the crimson cord to the window.
Mm-hmm.
So she didn't completely and totally relinquish her power, and yet she really gave it over to the two spies.
Yeah, that's interesting. She puts a lot of faith in them, doesn't she? She lets them go. She lets them out. She puts that string that's supposed to be the sign. She has no idea if they're going to honor it.
Actually, what she's doing, though, is she's accepting the power of God and what God has given to Israel, and is unwilling to cross what she perceives as a greater life.
Yeah. Just there's a lot of faith there. Yeah. How about allyship? How about allyship? That's our fourth bullet point of things to look for. Allyship. That's being an ally to someone else, right? You might be someone who has power, or maybe you don't, and you kind of align yourself with someone to kind of help them, to promote them. So she allies with the spies to kind of gain from their influence. Yeah.
They were afraid of the invading army.
Right, they're afraid of the invading army. Yeah. Right, these guys theoretically are from the invading army, or so she believes, right? Right, so there's divine support as well, and divine providence. That's allyship too. Other thoughts? Right, she takes care of her whole family there. Right, she didn't have to. She could have gone on her own.
Yeah, they obviously didn't want to deal with her, so she was willing, she was either forced to or voluntarily willing to honor their intentions. And her family probably didn't want to be physically associated. So she still saves them.
Well, that's fascinating. It's not clear where her family is really, right? You're making an assumption that her family is elsewhere. Actually, no, it's not really so much of an assumption. It's there in verse 18. Bring your father, your mother, your brothers, all your family together in your house. So she has her space, and they appear or seem to be folks who live in a different part of the city. So it is gather them in under her wings. You were to say?
Well, I was going to say, but on the other hand, though, she is in a house. Now, whether that's a house with lots of rooms or just a house with, one big room, we don't know. But they're saying she's in a house by herself. There's no others in that house with her. So there's no family, but there's also no other women.
Yeah, it's unclear, right? It doesn't say anything about who else lives in the space with her. If she's, lives on her own, or if there are other folks there.
So I get that the people in this village are afraid of the spies and the Israelites because of the stories happened. But it doesn't say anything about how they captured the land.
Oh, that just comes next. I didn't bring it. Oh yeah, there's.
Is this village surrounded by Israelites so the people knew that the Israelites were nearby?
They're in the process of the conquest of the land of Canaan. So they've already. What you hear in the story, right? It's okay. She knows the story of the Exodus. She's heard of that. She's heard of that event, and she knows about the Israelites overthrowing Sichon and Og. They were the kings of Ammon and Moab that are on the east of the Jordan. Jericho, Jericho, I believe, is the first of the places that they're going to attempt to conquer. So the news is out, but the Israelites aren't camped on them yet. And then, basically, you can see we're in chapter 2. You get to chapter 3, this is basically the end of chapter 2. You get to chapter 3, and the actual conquest happens, and Rachav does actually put the string, and they do actually save her and her family. Interesting midrash, rabbinic lore, that's not in the book of Joshua at all, is that ultimately the rabbis talk about Rachav marrying Joshua, that she became his wife. It's an interesting. Yeah, an interesting twist. It's not in the story itself.
So this story is in addition to the other story where the two spies go in and there's the other story where the two spies go and come back and say the land is filled with dying.
Right. That's the story that's in Numbers, which happens approximately 40 years before this story. Because that's the story that gets the Israelites to have to wander around the desert for 40 years. Or wander in the wilderness for 40 years. Correct. Correct. Sorry if that wasn't clear to everyone beforehand. I might have made an assumption about, nonetheless. Okay, so I want to kind of wrap this up with some comments that I think are relevant. Yeah, no, you're just straight up. Okay. Teacher, very attentive to hands moving, especially when they go upwards. So I want to kind of tie this in. Because Rahav in somewhat is archetypical of outsider in a society. And so if we want to talk about or think about pride for the LGBTQ community, so there are things here that are similar, right? A community that lives, that for a very long time in our world had to live kind of on the margins, kind of separate, maybe even separate from their families, in relationship with the family, but maybe not. Right? Folks who have to figure out how to get their needs met without being so overt about it, to do it covertly or subversively, and then needing to find and identify people who are supporters, who will love you or care for you, despite those kind of perceptions, the things, the identities that are placed upon you, as opposed to your real identity, and then having to figure out how to claim your own identity. The truth is that we Jews identify with this stuff very well, because this is us too. Right? For most of our history, also having identity placed upon us, and having to figure out how to pass in society. I listened to a podcast recently. Actually, a young man, blanking on his name at the moment, Ben M. Freeman, who actually is I'll call it teacher writer about Jewish pride, and he came to it actually from being gay himself and recognizing, oh, there are overlaps, there are similarities. We Jews can pass, just like people who are LGBT can pass. Right? You can take on an identity that makes you look like everybody else. Right? And there's kind of societal expectation, sometimes even shame and condemnation at who you are. And those are things that kind of we share, that idea of kind of needing to keep your head down. And so one of the really important things for all of us is to, like Rahav, claim your power, to stand up tall as who you are, to certainly make sure that your needs get met, and to find good, strong, supporting partners and allies as you go about trying to do that. So hope you all enjoyed the learning. And I think we'll move on to announcements. The board rep today is supposed to be, it says on here the board rep is Will Proctor. Diane, you want to come give the announcements?
Yeah, I'll do announcements.
Okay, awesome.
Announcements.
Horrible way to die, horrible way to die. We got to teach the community that
We really do.
it's a camp thing. It's a camp thing. Anyways.
And we would get in so much trouble. Anyway, Shabbat Shalom and welcome to all our members, guests, and virtual congregants. Yeah, I know we had an issue with the sound, but it's back. It's just a little off.
Ah.
We'll deal with it next week. We hope that your participation in this Shabbat has been meaningful. Because it's summer, we don't have a lot coming on, but we do have some stuff going on. First of all, remember, if you haven't sent your commitment to community pledge forms in and your religious school registration forms to the office, please do. Our actual fiscal year starts next week on July 1st. Please join us next Shabbat, July 5th at 7:30.
I'll be filling in again.
We'll be doing again. Because Rabbi Lipper's on vacation, yay. Well, no, we'd
Yay
like
for
him here,
him.
but glad that he's on vacation because we all need a break.
It's yay for
Anyway.
him.
Please join us for Kiddush Motzi and Oneg following the service. And Shabbat Shalom.
Thanks, Dan.
Going back to my hole.
Okay, let's see. Let's turn to, I gotta go to the, page 283, right? Yeah. Page 283, we rise for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, ויראת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת. אין עוד ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. You can be seated. Let's turn to page 290 and read together at the top of the page. Why should I wish to see God better than this day? I see something of God in each hour of the 24, and each moment then. In the faces of men and women I see God, and in my own face in the glass. I find letters from God dropped in the street, and every one is signed by God's name. And I leave them where they are, for I know that wheresoever I go, others will punctually come forever and ever. This week we remember Max Hecht, grandfather of Ellen Heller, Louis Graber, Dina Kolker, Dobna Brook, aunt of Rabbi David Lipper, Goldie Levin, aunt of Stephanie Brandt, Marvin Katz, husband of Linda Katz, Walter Melton Jr., brother of Janet Godfrey, Bessie Shaler, Sarah Weil, stepmother of Nancy Burlatt, Faye Granoff, mother of Nina Train, Mark Motley, cousin of Rabbi David Lipper, Lorraine Rich, mother of Harvey Rich. And in the week of Shiv'ah, we remember Dr. Harris Milton Hauser, father of John Hauser, father-in-law of Truly Hauser, grandfather of Avon, Hannah, and Natalie Hauser, and great-grandfather of Axel Hauser. We also remember Monroe Zeffert, brother of Stephen Zeffert and brother-in-law of Beth Zeffert, and Catherine Foster, mother of Peter Foster, mother-in-law of Lauren Foster, and grandmother of Claire Foster. And we also remember with thoughts of them in our hearts, we rise for Mourner's Kaddish, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, b'yalma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'meru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbam vorach le'olam lomei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemed kedusha b'richu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechmata, da'amiran be'oma v'imuru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imuru amen. Oseh shalom b'ramav, u'yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imuru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel. Together we say, amen. We can be seated. We are going to close our service with a song that is not in the Siddur. It's an English song, all in English. It's a bit of a round, so feel free to treat it that way if you like. It's called Open by Judith, I'm blanking on her last name. And it goes like this. I should tell you the words before we even start singing. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. That's it. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. One more time. Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.